Welcome to the Digital E-commerce podcast, where we dive deep into strategies to help you grow your online business. And we're talking about something interesting, which is a bit unusual, which is everything Amazon seller relates to is Amazon seller central frustration. So today, joining us is John, the founder of Seller Candy, that acts as an expert in operation of this. So Seller Candy, it helps make ethics of dealing with Seller Central. If you have been calling Amazon seller support, you know how frustrated to get the second degree of support, right? So this John comes in to help. He has a company that helps out on level the operational support, and imagine handling any support. Imagine hand off any complex issues, time-consuming tasks, so you can just focus on your own thing. That's what this is doing. So how are you, John? John, look at your such an idea. Is that the reason why you call it Candy?
Thanks, Dylan. I would also ask if that's why you moved to the UK, so you could see such luxurious beards. But I live in Asia now, so it is actually very rare here. No, not actually why we called it Seller Candy. We called it Seller Candy because we do we work with seller support or on seller platforms, and we do bite-sized tasks, which, if you're cheesy, make your life sweeter. But yeah, we do bite-sized tasks like candy.
Yeah, amazing. That is candy for sure. So in this episode, what we're going to do is it's going to be asking on behalf of every sellers, what are the problems that they're facing, and then how they're going to help us, and why does it make sense to go for Seller Candy. Okay. So first,
yeah, because this might need cutting, but it says chat with Dustin Vassner scrolling along the bottom. You might be able to...
Okay. Sorry, let me...
That's all right. It doesn't matter if no one's going to notice if it changes halfway through. I think you can just you can just edit it to cut to the point we got to.
This wasn't right early on. Okay, good spot. Okay, okay.
Format.
So John, can you explain? Okay, let's again. So John, can you start by explaining about Seller Candy? What does it does in general?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Seller Candy, when we first started, and still what we do today, is we remove the need for you to ever talk to seller support again. Is our goal. That's our mission, because we believe that the worst part about selling on Amazon is dealing with Amazon themselves. Their support is, frustrating, very hard to get through to, and it's really hard to get what you want done. So we act as a layer between you and seller support. So we have our own portal. We have 40-something ex-Amazon seller support agents that we hire in the Philippines. They take the outcomes of our clients and they do whatever it takes to make that happen on the Amazon platform. So think of it like a cross between a virtual assistant and an absolute expert who knows more than you in how this part of operations works, so how dealing with seller support works. So it's like an expert assistant in dealing with Amazon seller support.
Amazing. Let's start by for the audience, what I do in the past. I project software that comes with ticketing. In a month, I have hundreds of days open. Believe me or not, that is just to solve our SKU problem. There's just so much things. It's either to go for, try to submit POA, try to merge anything, try to ask the support why is our node is disappeared, get the category report, right? All those things make sense to me now why Seller Candy exists, because dealing with the Amazon support as I would have just to and have them to take it, trace it. If it closed, then we have to reopen again, and then if you report a second time, they will merge things together, and that is a frustrating that we had. I had such thing myself when I was a 5-figure, 6-figure seller, right? After that, I know that it takes up so much of my time, right? So here's the question for John. Could you tell us like what biggest problem that sellers is facing that eating up most of the time that is to bring to the revenue that can ultimately?
Well, I think the problem is that a lot of this stuff is required to do to have your revenue. So it doesn't affect growth, but if it's not done, then things like suspended asins or suspended variations that might not be high volume sellers, but that just get stuck in Amazon's system, or listing updates and things which slow everything down. The biggest things that we do for our clients, I mean, apart from ASIN suspensions, which is maybe 20% of it, we do a lot of just listing updates. So, it used to be if you want to update a listing, you just edit the listing and it's done. Like these days, Amazon locks everything down so much that it's a lot of just, as you said, downloading the category listing report, updating fields, uploading it, check it propagates through the system, check it didn't break anything, doing the update, really just pushing updates through the system. We also do a lot of just root cause analysis, like, oh, I got this notification, it's worrying. Can you figure out why it's there? What's happening? Just investigating the stuff that you would spend an hour going down a rabbit hole, figuring what Amazon's talking about. You can just raise a case to us and we'll figure it out for you. We actually do, 50 or 60 different things at a high level. So there's actually a menu of services on our website. So the easiest way to find out what we do is to go onto our website and look at our menu of services. If anyone's listening and think like, oh, I quite like those ideas, and just check it out on the big extended menu of we do other things as well, but that's really the big categories of what we do.
Right. When the listing get locked with the editing, what do you tackle the problem?
So, I mean, if it's locked, it's usually just locked in the manage listings editor. Usually you can still edit with a flat file or a feed file. So we'd go into case log. If it's not already enabled, we'd ask Amazon to enable the category listing report so that we can go on that. We then go into reports, download the category listing report and the one from the drop-down menu. I'm actually doing a presentation on this later today. Then from there, we edit the fields in the category listing report of the ASIN that we want to update, and then just upload it as a bulk file, as a feed file. So we just basically force it through the system. If Amazon still doesn't reflect the updates, we then call up seller support and say, hey, we've uploaded a feed file. This is the bulk upload number. Can you refresh it, please? Because it's not showing on the front end. And then you just have to sit on the phone with Amazon and say, hey, can you refresh? Can you refresh? No, I don't want you to open a case for me. I've already done that. Please help me.
Okay. Yeah. That's the. I remember, like, I would just call them up and then trying to play emotional damage, saying that this is really affecting my financial and personal matters coming out to try to get us past the gate. Let's put the listing lock in a high level. So changing the listing, say, if we have a distributor under the same brand registry, but the listing was not created from the distributor, it was created from the original account, but then the account got suspended. How are we able to get ourselves to edit that listing?
So, I mean, this would be on a case-by-case basis. So if you have a specific case like this, I would reach out to our team. But usually it's contribution rights. So if you're on the same brand registry account, and if you are the live seller, hopefully your listing should become the official contributor to that listing. This would be a bit different if the original distributor was also selling through Vendor Central, like 1P, because 1P steamrollers over everything else. So Vendor Central steamrollers everything else. But if they're just the 2-3P sellers, usually Amazon basically goes between the two uploaded different sets of content and takes the one that converts best. So hopefully you should get the contribution as the live distributor. And so just update your listing on your end, and then it should be all good in theory. If not, again, call Amazon, do the feed file, and just repeat steps, 1 to 4.
There's a statistic, just one, like you mentioned, how many times that you have to call Amazon for?
That's a hard statistic. Somewhere between one and and several. I can't give you a good number, to be honest. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I can find it
I mean,
out.
some days just nowhere, right?
Mm.
Is there any way that you can educate us, like what was the best way to get them past the catalog team, as in like not the support level, but the catalog level? Is there any that message sent to them to there, or?
So what we always try and do at Seller Candy is to do all of the troubleshooting steps ourselves without having to ask Amazon how to do them or what to do, because that takes forever. It gives you like a 2-day back and forth every time. So if we can first raise a case, say something goes down, so a listing's gone down, or we want to do an update. First, we'd raise a case about it. So we'd raise a normal seller support case, because that's the first thing Amazon will do if you call them. So no point waiting for that. Raise the seller support case. Then we'd do the category listing report option. We'd then update it. We'd download the category listing report. We'd update all the fields and we'd re-upload it. That's number 2. Then if we really want to do everything before we contact them, we might do a delete relist. It depends how serious the update is. If the listing's down otherwise, there's no reason not to do a delete relist. So you delete for 24 hours, then you re-upload the listing. Anyone who's out there who's never done this, you will not lose your reviews. Your listing will be fine, because the listing is actually in the central catalog, not on the listing on your account. So deleting it will have no effect on that. So you re-upload, and then you can call, because after that, you've done everything they're going to tell you to do. So they can't tell you, I'm raising a case. Because if they tell you raising a case, you say, I've already raised a case. I've already done the bulk upload. I've already deleted, relisted. You've got to put me through to someone who can do something, because I've done everything you're going to tell me to do. So that's how we try and get things through faster. If you want a surefire way to get through to the leadership team, there was one that was shared to me by a client when I was in Australia. We were exhibiting at an event. She came up to me and she was like, I've got 100% success rate on getting through the leadership team. So I said, tell me more. And she said, what I do is I call up and then I burst into tears and then cry on the phone until they put me through to the leadership team. So I haven't tried that one. But she says, emotional breakdowns will help you get through to the leadership team.
Yeah, it does. Like I can prove that. I can prove that I that with team to get the team. The leadership team. Just for reference for everyone, what does it mean by leadership team? Like, what do they help you out? I once have a leadership team call me to just help me like by step and like on how to solve a profile issue. Like he literally just stay on the phone and solve that problem for me together, and then for 1 hour. Like that's the feeling. That's the like reason. Like when you're able to do the team. But hey, I kid you not, I call them at least 20 times to get to them.
Yes.
So that was a call back from the leadership team, but not them. They try to transfer, right? So the very call that I had in my life. Someone says, if you that's the first time, like they're actually useful. That's the first time that I was thinking about that. Okay. From your knowledge, from secondly, like, did you like have like a cider that you like or like black hat? I'm not black hat like that. Like say, there's in China, there's a lot of Chinese provider that who provide like a category engage or like this or like trying to get a lane deal or BD unlock. Do you have it about that?
No, we don't do anything black hat or grey hat.
Yeah.
We hire. Our secret sauce is not secret. We just do best practice over and over again, a lot more efficiently and aggressively than our clients would, because we have all the time in the world to put towards it. And we also hire people, like really experienced people, usually directly out of seller support. So we hire the people that were trained, actually now it's like 5 years ago. So when they actually train people to solve problems, before they started just training people to follow their tree diagram, because now their KPI is copying and pasting from their what they call workflow system. So that's now their KPI. But when we hire the people that were actually trained to solve the problem, who then got, they hated wearing the handcuffs of seller support going, oh, now I can't solve the problem. Now I have to actually just follow the system. So they left. So they came to work for us. So now we have those people.
That's good. Really good to hear. Black hat is a no for sure. Back in the day, first started, the level playing field is so uneven. Like people would just go for black hat tactic or that or like this or that. But then like lately, I realized, hey, for minor or newer song, to be fair, very good advantage and the back in the days as a giveaway to manipulate the sales rank. But right now, since everyone is using gray hat tactic, I'm using white hat tactic, and then right now focusing on they remove all the actors from the field. So no one dare mess with armor now. So if we try once, you are for sure that you will get caught and you will be submitting maybe POA again, and then you get caught twice, and then you can never ever try any black hat that fights. That's not about as everyone now the craze right now is when you launch a product, you go for fine voice, you go for like different variation, 10 fine voice, and then you get 300 reviews, right? So when it get like you the ASIN, do you like data as in like how many times you can until you stop doing, say, because you're against the violation of manipulating the variation. Sometimes we do it intentionally. Sometimes we don't, but we still get message. You have 5 to years for that.
It's a good question. I don't honestly, I don't have any data on that one. How many times you can do it? Have you got any experience of that? How many times have you done it in the past?
We look at NCS, and if there's a warning, we stop. Yeah. we try a gated category pass, and we try to. It's not like it's like super hard to get into that category. There's a lot of like certificate, right? And so that problem, like when we see that there's a violation, until later we try again. That's our. But then we have never met before. I don't know through how many times those like. So I guess like best to not mess with that. Do not mess with the policy of violation. So another question here: when do the certification, the product safety, like sometimes it costs like 5,000, 2,000 to get something dated, right? Where do you advise sellers to go for the certification?
So your product safety certificates, it really depends on manufacturers. I mean, so it depends. I'd love to hear your experience on that, because, you know, from the Hong Kong point of view, did you ever go to China and get any of the certificates done in China? It really
There's this lab, and it would take like 3 months. It would take 3 months the testing and result coming out. Like even though we spend like $5,000 for the certification, we still are not able to get engaged sometimes. But then that require like multiple before we get it. And that's what I'm thinking. With that much ticket that you handle, like you see any like you, even though you're submitting the certification, you're still not able to get it.
It's a good question, because we've done 100,000 tickets, and I don't touch the tickets all day, every day anymore. You know, we literally have a whole hierarchy of agents, team leaders, supervisors. You know, only things come to me if there's a real issue, and that has to be a real issue. We can look at the data. I mean, we'd have to pull up all the data, look at what we've submitted in the last 2 years and see, but we could run the data. But we do everything now at a data level, because we just got so much volume. You know, we got tens of thousands of tickets to look at, and the team is processing a few thousand at any one point. So it's
I can't.
I mean, it's good. I mean, we've got a system that does it all, but I can't provide you with these many insights though, which is kind of sad. Sorry.
Okay, let's talk about basic anymore planning. I know you offer in planning for and it's actually a pain in the ass to plan for inventory. There's a lot of like bits and bobs like that we have to calculate. So how do you go approach for the inventory plan?
So we fit best with sellers who are medium level sophisticated. So, if you're already selling, if you're selling in multiple markets all over the world, and you're selling outside of Amazon, we're probably not the best solution for you. You should be using probably, one of the softwares so stocked, or one of the softwares which will help you with multi-channel distribution and seasonality. What we do is we've developed a bunch of algorithms and data processing sheets, basically, where we can pull all your previous sales, help you project out for the rest of the year, including seasonality if it's a seasonal product, and just help you with your reordering and telling you when you should be also balancing between your 3PL and Amazon's warehouse. But yeah, we're not there for, if you've got more than 50 SKUs and you're selling in multiple marketplaces, you probably should be using a good software solution, not us. We're more of a hands-on solution.
If I only have like 5 SKU, would you help me to contact the Chinese manufacturer to handle the inventory management, or would that be just a prediction that you guys are going to be giving me?
We just provide with the prediction. We are looking at logistical solutions for the future, actually, but it's not part of Seller Candy's current service, and it'll probably be an upsell in the future, but it's not something we currently offer. But we understand logistics is a massive pain in the ass.
It is. Listings, like how long do you think is the lead for finishing from set to unsuspend? What does it look like?
So if you're already a Seller Candy client, like you're a monthly subscription client, because the best way to get value out of Seller Candy is to sign up and just use this as an ongoing basis. We could be working on it within 1 day. So as soon as it goes down, you send it to us, we get started on it. Best case, I'm sure you've worked on plenty of suspended listings before. Best case is it's back same day. Worst case is that it's an absolute ordeal and it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks. On average, our goal is to be back as soon as possible. And like I said, we are always as fast as humanly possible to solve that issue. So as fast as Amazon will respond to us, we will raise cases and push back and make plans of action, investigate, figure out what the issue is. And we know how to write really good plans of action, because the biggest issue when sellers start the first time of having a suspension is they want to be right. They want to be right, because Amazon a lot of the time has got it wrong. So they want to tell Amazon that Amazon's wrong and that I'm right. But actually the reality is we don't want to be right. We just want to be making money. We want to be selling again. So whatever Amazon says, Amazon is right. Let's just fix it.
Yeah, I was about to ask that question as well. Every time they just come with a POA, it's like, what? Did we do that? No, we didn't. And then it was like, best we just say no.
Yes. What I'm going to do going forward to stop these secondhand products is I'm going to check the products aren't secondhand before I send them in. Even though Amazon just definitely sold my return. Amazon 100% sold my return. But what am I going to do? I'm just going to put a plan in place so that doesn't happen again. I will order from a new factory.
Yeah, that's a trick, guys. I'm gonna really just admit that they accuse you, right? And just say yes.
Yeah.
How does Seller Candy ensure operational tasks get done efficiently? Without us micromanaging you, calling you, hey, it's done. Is this thing unsuspend yet? But what are what are the standard things that you have in place?
Yeah, so we know that's a problem, and we know that sellers are not always the most organized people. Tend to be small teams, 1 to 5 people, and not the most organized people necessarily. So what we do to make this happen is we have our own portal. So we actually have an app where our clients log in. They log each issue like they would in seller support, but rather than seller support where you send a ticket and you get a template back, we take full ownership from that point forwards, and then we provide daily updates or whenever we get an update from Amazon, like this is where we are, this is what we've done, it's closed now. And then those tickets either show up in our portal or they're also received by email for our client. So client can either check their email or they just log into the portal for 5 minutes a day and go, oh, okay, Seller Candy solved all this extra stuff for me. I can submit more stuff, or they can just create a line, create a queue of stuff in the account, and we'll just do one thing, then the next, and the next. And if there's something important comes up, they can just bump it to the front of the queue.
So maximum ticket I can submit per day, you said like a limit there?
The way we do it is limit off concurrent tickets that we're working on, depending on your subscription. So you subscribe, you might be just on a plan, like a basic plan that has 2 simultaneous tickets. That means that you can submit an unlimited amount of stuff into your portal, and then we're working on 2 at a time. When we finish one, we open the next one, finish one, open the next one, and just go through the queue. And then our client can arrange the line. So they can move things to the front, they can move things to right now, like this is costing me loads of money, and they can manage the queue. Because usually actually there's only like 1 or 2 important things going on in your account. And the rest of it is just like stuff that I want to get done in the next week or 2. Right. And that's the way we do it.
How does Sarah Candy, that makes sense. How does Sarah Candy like differ from hiring a general VA versus like an in-house operation team?
Yeah. So in terms of our competency, I would say that if a general VA is here, we're up here in terms of competency dealing with these type of issues. So a lot of sellers, as they grow, even if they've got an in-house VA, they'll come work with us. They'll add their VA as a user, because you can have multiple users in our portal, and their VA will give all the complicated stuff to us, because the VA will do the stuff you were talking about, like logistics and customer service and the stuff that's requires a light touch. And then for anything actually technical, they just submit it to Seller Candy. Seller Candy deal with that stuff, and then the VA just manages in the portal. Because it's a different skill set, isn't it? It's a different skill set that's good at email and ordering than that's good at deep technical problem solving and stuff that drives you crazy dealing with Amazon.
You get easy track if you try things fast.
Yeah.
Based on your experience, like what are the top operational mistakes that sellers makes managing their own Amazon account?
I mean, the same mistakes every business owner makes, I guess, which is thinking that they are the anointed one. I am the only person that can operate my business in the way that it needs to be operated. You are the one that figured it out, for sure, but that doesn't mean you're the only person that can do it. There's definitely other people that can run ads or account management or do seller support like Seller Candy does. And that's the way to grow a real business, to have a team that can run the business for you. But, sellers do a great job of running their own accounts. Interestingly, though, like I was sharing, like you can if you're working super hard and you don't know what to get rid of first, seller support's a pretty good thing to get rid of first. PPC, we don't do that. Also a good thing to get rid of first. You probably can't get rid of the product source, the idea generation, but you could get rid of some of the product sourcing. But, once you've got enough cash flow to pay for other services, you should be elevating yourself as much as possible so that you can focus on new product and metrics. As business gets bigger, it's all metrics. Like business is just metrics. You should be able to operate your business from a dashboard.
Exactly. Managing the team is already a pain in the ass. So just focus your time in managing the team and the metrics on the sales. That's the fight, I would say. What's next for Seller Candy? Like, what do you plan to help Amazon like in the future, other than the list of manual service? And like, are you launching a software, or maybe are you launching additional service in the future?
Yeah, so there's a few things we're actually launching at the moment and testing, because I always believe in testing. Testing, we do a light launch and test before we go live. So we're testing coaching calls. So if someone has a technical problem, we can actually coach them the basics. So you get a 30-minute coaching session. We can figure out how to help you, put a plan in place for you, and then we're off. And if you want us to fix it, you can pay us to fix it. But if not, we'll tell you how to fix it. We're also testing out creative, because we think there's a decent gap in, especially sellers with larger catalogs who haven't done like good quality A+ content, who don't have good infographic images, not necessarily like the stuff you're going to pay $5,000 an image for, if you go into a super expensive creative agency, but to get through your products and really make sure they've got decent quality infographics and decent quality images. I think a lot of sellers are struggling with that, because it's like, of their list of priorities, it's down here somewhere. So that's what we're testing at the moment. And also logistics, it's on our list of things to test, because everyone hates logistics. So we're looking at that as an option. But logistics is further down our list because we haven't got it there yet.
Costing is something. as well. Like
Costing.
prediction
What do you mean?
like first out or things I hate, but you can't just skip it, I know a lot of sellers, they don't do that by themselves, as in like, even they don't know the real cost behind. How can that be a service? That's something that helps, but I have to do it. I mean, weekly basis.
Yeah, and for that, how do you record that in your books and everything like that? Where do you record the information even?
We have an ERP with QuickBook, and we also have a kit.
Okay.
In ERP, your macro version. In ERP, the version. In the QuickBook is reconciliation, and then in Excel is about the macro, like on the bird eye view. So it's about cash flow on Excel and the profit and loss on ERP. The problem that we're facing. You can imagine I updating that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pain. That's a good one. Thank you for sharing.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. If people want to find you, John, like Sarah Candy, like where can they find you?
Yes. So if you want to find us, you can find Seller Candy at sellercandy.com, spelled how you'd imagine. What do we have as resources? So there's actually I think the best thing that we have that I could share is we've put together a guide, which is how to solve the stuff we've been talking about. So how to solve listing suspensions, how to do good flat files, we've got a bunch of SOPs of how to do flat file error code investigation, because everyone hates that. And that's at sellercandy.academy. So rather than .com, .academy. So sellercandy.academy, that takes you to a landing page. You can put in your email and you can download all those SOPs. If not, if you'd like to talk to one of our team, you just go to sellercandy.com. You book in a call with Kelly, who's on our team. He's meeting people all day, every day, seeing if they're a good fit to work with Seller Candy, because we only onboard people that we know we can add value to their business. Do you have a business that's a good fit for Seller Candy? But yeah, otherwise check out sellercandy.academy and enjoy.
On the website, Seller Candy. Should I put that in the show notes? The website and profile as well. And that wraps up another value-packed episode of Digital E-commerce Podcast. And massive thank you for John breaking down Seller Candy sellers and hitting their if you're drowning in searching best scope of Seller Candy, even though one or two concurrent tickets is enough to help you solve all your problem. So trust me, you don't want to be those people who forget about it and metric. Subscribe to this podcast, watching strategy, and to go your time. See you. Thank you.